Hello, welcome to Better Business Podcast. My name is Alexei, and this week I want to talk about Google Ads. Now, Google Ads has been around for quite some time. I've been involved with Google Ads or AdWords back then is what it used to be called, since about 2004, which is roughly around when it actually started basically becoming popular in Australia. Now, I reckon that Google Ads is still one of the best strategies, one of the best channels rather, for small businesses to get new business, if actually still not the best. And this is in 2023. A lot of people, for some reason, shove Google Ads aside, thinking it's either too complicated or too expensive. But this is something I want to talk about, because I still think it's basically one of the best channels, specifically if you know exactly who your ideal customers are, and if you know exactly what it is that you're focusing on. Frankly, I find that one of the biggest issues when it comes to Google Ads is people being very general with their advertising. If they just focus on the entire business as opposed to the areas of the business, because this is where the whole content marketing side of things really works quite well. So if you are, focusing on the entire business, let's say like accounting, and you're thinking that people are searching for accountants Brisbane and finding you and potentially clicking on your ads and you're not getting much of it, or if you're getting something and they're not ideal customers, well, you're doing it all wrong. Really, there are better ways to do it. And if you focus specifically on the niches within your business, then this is where you can actually find some, really, really good customers. Now, there's obviously a dilemma of the business to business and business to consumer markets. I find that Google Ads works a lot better for B2C market overall. However, when it comes to B2B, it's really about understanding that a lot of the time, businesses are not as active in terms of searching for solutions as the individuals. So I think if you compare B2B and B2C in this particular case, it's probably not an accurate way to do it, because like I said last week, it's really about understanding the entire customer journey as opposed to just focusing on a couple of interactions throughout the actual clicks. Now, let's talk about Google Ads. If you guys haven't come across that as much, I mean, the whole thing is referred to as pay-per-click or PPC, which is where you exactly pay for every click that you receive from the campaigns. What's really good about it is you can actually have very detailed targeting. You can actually focus on specific keywords or audiences. In terms of audience, there's a few different parameters there. You can find different devices. You can get people to look, for your ads specifically in areas and stuff. Overall, that really defines the landscape of Google Ads quite specifically. Now, the issue is if you're going to make it too specific, you will most likely not get a lot of volume coming through to your ads. If you're going to keep it too broad, you will potentially get a few clicks here and there, which will potentially be not ideal for you to run a campaign to get a result. So overall, it's one of those channels where you really need to do a little bit of homework to understand how things are progressing in order to get. Now, what's a conversion? Well, conversion, as we spoke last week, is really more about people coming to your website and taking action when it comes to either a phone call or potentially, filling out a form and requesting a quote, for example, or contacting you. So if you understand that as a process and you're able to tie in the actual ad to the ad copy to the actual conversion, the whole thing works out a lot better. It's a much simpler process to follow. And with tracking, which is one of the key features of Google Ads, you're able to understand exactly which audience or keywords are working quite well. Now, I think a lot of the time people find that Google Ads doesn't quite work because they either end up using the automated version of Google Ads, which pretty much goes and does everything for you. And look, if you have an amazing website and your business is fairly straightforward, that may be the case. However, I hear more and more horror stories about, people using the automated Google Ads approach where budget gets spent and people don't get much in return. In all honesty, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You really need to work on the actual campaigns as well as your website, as well as the actual audience that you're basically wanting to engage to make this thing work. So there's really three components. You really start with assumptions. Okay, I think my customers are, men over 35, homeowners and so on and so on. And if that's the case, that's the sort of information you feed to the machine. And then from there, obviously, there are a whole bunch of different automated campaigns that can help you focus on that target audience. However, there are obviously seasonal changes throughout the year as well, which you have to consider. To keep things simple and focusing on just the search campaigns alone, the good thing about Google Ads is the overall intent. So if someone's searching for you, they've already done the homework of finding that they're after a provider of a particular service. So if someone looks for, let's say, European car mechanic Brisbane, they are in the market to basically get somebody to service a European car. In comparison, if you are to sort of compare this with Facebook, for example, you are showing ads to people based on an audience, but these people aren't really typing anything. There's no effort for them to actually get to that point. So Google Ads is a little bit more intent driven, if you like, which brings people a little bit closer to action. And for this particular reason, if you are to compare Google search campaigns towards, let's say, social media or against social media, you can actually find better leads coming through. Now, they can be costing more money. However, you're going to find that these particular leads have got the intent. And this is one of the key points of Google Ads in comparison to the various different channels. Now, you can use various channels together if you're savvy enough, and you can basically set up all your pixels and stuff, and you can understand the customer journey, how people look for you, how they get through to your website, and how they basically need to be followed up. Because in reality, people don't really make decisions on the first interactions anymore. They need to shop around, they need to compare various websites, and not only do you need to actually be very good with your copy, you also need to make sure that your offer stands out as well. And for this particular reason, even if you have the best website, you still need to do the homework and find out what your competition is doing, and make sure when you position your ad in front of an audience, you basically have got the best offer or something that aligns really well with your sales process. I find that if you're going to get people inquiring about something that you do within the sales process, they are typically much better conversations, which will result in a much better sales conversion rate. So you've got various components here. You've got people inquiring on the website, and obviously for the marketers, that's their job. They want to get you as many inquiries as possible. However, then you want to sell those leads as well and get them over the line. So there's basically a bit of a process that you really need to follow. However, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It's really just a matter of really understanding the factors that you need to focus on. And I think, I do come across quite a few businesses that would be like, hey, we want to try SEO, we want to try social media. And it's like, well, wouldn't you want to try Google Ads instead? They're like, oh, we tried that, it didn't work for us. But Google Ads is definitely worth a shot if you want results fairly fast, because the whole thing is nearly instant. Once you have your account running and your ads are approved, they're showing instantly to your target market. And from there, you can actually do a lot of split testing. So if you actually want to focus on various marketing channels, I would recommend to focus on Google Ads just to at least test your target market. Now, I know that some niches could be really, really expensive and potentially not viable for you to run ads in the long run. But at least you're going to get really good data to focus on your content marketing or social media or something else in the future as well. I think, if you can get into Google Ads and focus more on the full suite of Google Ads, the actual campaigns that you can control yourself and work that out, you'll understand that there's a lot more metrics and parameters out there. If you're just going to use the automated version that comes with your Google My Business or something like that, I think you're really at the mercy of the machine learning, which sometimes doesn't really get it right and uses the website that you have, all the pages. And sometimes I find those pages not really relevant. So yeah, I guess, that's really the starting point. And the main reason that Google Ads is so much more superior is obviously the intent of the people searching. You're having control budgets and obviously paying only for the clicks that you receive to your website. Full tracking, obviously, once you set it up, and then being able to zoom in on specific audiences. I mean, if you can really understand the power of that, marketing people who are, let's say, homeowners while they're searching for a particular service for, let's say, property management, you automatically cut out everybody else. And I think a lot of people just don't understand that part. You can really do a lot of things in a really cool way and really scale that up in the vicinity of that particular geographical area. Because the one thing that is really cool, once you understand that a lead is costing you $20 or $30, you can keep scaling that until you hit the actual impression share limit, which is obviously the number of impressions that you can get on your ads if you were to spend as much money as possible. So, but beyond that, obviously the Google Ads isn't just about search. There's obviously your display network. Those are the banners that come up on various websites, like the news websites. There are obviously the YouTube ads, and they come in all sorts of forms as well. There is obviously your True View, which is the one that comes up with 5 seconds that you got to watch before you get to skip it. And that's a great ad format to engage people and tell them about your brand. There are obviously a whole bunch of remarketing ads that could be done over a number of different channels. But overall, Google always comes up with lots of new things. And one of the campaigns that we like running right now is a discovery campaign. Now, this is a bit of an automated campaign, which allows you to put in all the factors of who you actually target, and then they basically use channels to engage those audiences and bring them to your websites and convert. They work quite well in sometimes very challenging categories of business. So if you've tried Google Ads in the past and you found that it's either too expensive or it didn't work for you, it's definitely worth a while to give the discovery campaigns a shot. And I know for a fact that it all really comes down to tracking. So make sure that before you run any campaigns, you've got your tracking set up so that you're tracking your sales or you're tracking your conversions through phone calls or anything else like that. I think that's really the key. And that's the only way the system can actually find out how to fine-tune your campaigns in an automatic way. But obviously, if you've got an agency that works with you, then you can do all sorts of things like integrating it with your CRMs. Like, for example, if you use Salesforce, you can actually link it up to Salesforce and get live data. It actually goes to another level altogether. Now, I guess lastly, sometimes I get questions from people like, oh, someone's going to click on my ads or someone's going to waste something. I mean, look, there's always an issue with any form of advertising one way or another. However, Google does a pretty good job at filtering all the fraudulent clicks and stuff like that and provides refunds. Besides, there's a whole bunch of different systems that allows you to control that too. However, it's really about understanding the bigger picture and understanding the opportunities that you can actually capitalize on. If you get too hung up fiddling with your account every single day and you only spend $1,000 a month, you really might want to have a look at the number of time you spend on the accounts versus the outcome that you get, and really understand whether it's something you should be doing yourself or something you may be delegating. And in reality, if you have a growing business, you really need to understand that, if you're paying an X number of dollars per conversion, you may want to be able to grow that, sooner rather than later to maximize on the opportunities while you have them. There are a lot of marketing trends that sort of come up and then they go away over time. So if you do find something that works, I recommend maximizing if you've got the capacity to be able to service those particular customers. Anyway, I thought I'd just give you a few pointers and reasons why I think Google Ads is still one of the best strategies in 2023. And if you have any issues, with Google Ads, or you want to give it a shot and you need some hand holding, please feel free to reach out. I've got a team that can help you with that, or potentially help you audit your accounts in the past. Or if you think that you're more than capable of doing it yourself, just give it another shot. The whole thing has changed quite a lot in terms of the look and feel and the features that it's got as well. And overall, I find that, if you are wanting to get a good result, just make sure you start with that customer audience. Make sure you got your tracking set up. Make sure you're realistic about the budget you're allocating to get the right outcome. If you run with a $50 budget and expect that to last a week, where your clicks are costing you $5, you're likely to get 10 clicks. And most of the time, unfortunately, that's not enough for you to get a conversion. So conversion rate is obviously another topic to talk about. You really want to aim for conversions above 7% if you're running really specific campaigns. If you're running a conversion rate between 3 and 7%, you're most likely sending traffic to your main website, which is not ideal unless your website obviously designed specifically as a landing page. So that's another topic. That's something to talk another time. But Google Ads is absolutely something you must check out in 2023. And if you're not running it, that could be a quick win for you. Anyway, guys, this is Alexei. This is Better Business Podcast. And I hope we'll be chatting soon. Cheers.